Shalom Havrim, James Trim here, and today I want to talk to you about a very unusual subject, I suspect, surprising subject for some of you. The subject is the deity of the Messiah in the Talmud. Now, when I say deity of Messiah, a lot of people will have a lot of assumptions. So you can go back and watch some of my past videos on the topic, and for example, the video Messiah is not Ein Sof. And you'll see that when I talk about the deity of the Messiah, I'm not saying that the Messiah is Ein Sof. That would be absurd if you understand what Ein Sof is. But neither is the Father, and so on. Okay, so this is also sort of a follow-up video to a video we did recently, and it's actually going to be, there will be more than one follow-up video to the video that we did on Zechariah 12:10, and they shall look upon me whom they have pierced. Before we get going here, I need to ask everybody to please donate to support this work. We depend solely on you, and so we need to raise at least $500 in just the next few days to cover basic bills. So please, if you can, donate, and if you can make a good sized donation, that's always very helpful, because we don't have we have an unusual niche here, and there's a lot of folks that don't like the kind of material that we produce, but it is needed, important, and unique. So if you can, we please need to ask you to donate. You can do that by sending donations by PayPal to donations@wnae.org, or by clicking on the donate link in the video description below. All right. Also, as usual, this video comes with handouts, PDF handouts, and you'll find a link to those handouts where you can print them out for yourself below. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to our videos with notifications, share our videos with your friends, and comment and let us know what you think of our videos in the comments. And now let's get started. For this study, you'll need two things. One, a Bible. Pick a Bible, any Bible. Just about any Bible will do. It's not no trick of the translation here in what we're going to be doing today or ever. And sometimes there may be a nuance of significance to the translation, but that's really not the case today. And a Talmud. Now, if you don't have a Talmud, that's okay. You can just print out the handout, and you'll have the two Talmud passages that we'll be looking at right there for you. And so we're going to start with the first passage is Babylonian Talmud, Sukkot 52a, and it is a passage which gives us the position of Rabbi Dosa, who lived around 250 CE, regarding his understanding of Zechariah 12:10. Now, there is a debate in Sukkot 52a as to the meaning of Zechariah 12:10, and really Zechariah 12:12 in connection with 12:10. And we're going to do a whole video on that in the future. Don't worry, we're going to cover it. But today, we're just going to look at Rabbi Dosa's view, which is, and I quote, "What is the cause of the mourning of Zechariah 12:12? ... This is because there's multiple views presented, but we're looking at Rabbi Dosa's. It is well according to him who explains that the cause is the slaying of Messiah, the son of Joseph. since that well agrees with the scripture verse, and they shall look upon me whom they have pierced, and they shall mourn for him as one mourns for his only son. Now, when it refers to Messiah ben Yosef here, it refers to the rabbinic theory, the rabbinic to Messiah theory. And we're going to do another video on that in the future. Although, you always have to put a pin in something and say, okay, well, in the future, we're going to fill in that detail. So we'll be doing a separate video on the two Messiah theory in the future. But here, I will simply say that whereas as Nazarenes, we understand that there's two comings of one Messiah, in the rabbinic theory, there's two Messiahs with two different roles, Messiah ben Yosef and Messiah ben David. And just to abbreviate, we'll do a whole video later, Messiah ben Yosef, or Messiah the son of Joseph, sometimes called Messiah ben Ephraim, or just Ephraim, he will he comes and he dies, and like Joseph, he suffers and he dies. Joseph didn't die, but he suffered, and he was cast into the pit as the symbol of death to redeem his brothers. So he redeems Israel through his death. And then the second Messiah, Messiah ben David, comes later, subsequently, and benefits from his work, and comes and reigns from David's throne forever. And this is how Rabbinic Judaism resolves the fact that some of the Messianic passages speak of a Messiah that comes lowly and riding upon an ass and suffering and dying for his brothers, to redeem his brothers, and as a servant. And other passages speak about a Messiah that comes and riding upon the clouds with power and great glory and reigns from David's throne forever. Again, we'll do a whole video on that in the future. But I just want to deal here with the fact that Rabbi Dosa applies Zechariah 12:10 to the Messiah. They shall look upon me whom they have pierced. And we did a whole video in the recently demonstrating that that is the grammar in the Hebrew of the in the proper understanding of that passage. They shall look upon me whom they have pierced. So who is me in Zechariah 12:10? And for that, I want you to get out your Bibles and turn to Zechariah 12:10. Now, there is a nuance of translation in 12:10, but we covered that in a previous video. So go back and look at our video on they shall look upon him whom they pierced, or they shall look upon me whom they have pierced. And let's now look at verse 10. And I will pour upon the house of David and upon the inhabitants of Jerusalem the spirit of grace and supplications, and they shall look upon me whom they have pierced. The me is clearly Yahweh. There's no doubt about that. In fact, if we go up to verse 9, it shall come to pass in that day that I will seek to destroy all the nations that come against Jerusalem. That's not Zechariah. Zechariah is not saying, man, I'm Popeye, I'm going to eat my spinach and destroy all the nations. No, he's saying that he is a prophet, and these are the words of Yahweh speaking through him, and the first person speaker is Yahweh. We can also see that at the very beginning of chapter 12. The burden of the word of Yahweh of Israel says Yahweh, that stretches forth the heavens and lays the foundation of the earth, and forms the spirit of man within him. Verse 2, behold, I will make Jerusalem a cup of trembling unto all the people around about, when they shall be in the siege both against Judah and against Jerusalem. Then verse 9, it shall come to pass in that day that I will seek to destroy all the nations that come against Jerusalem. I will pour out upon the house of David and upon the inhabitants of Jerusalem the spirit of grace and supplications, and they shall look upon me whom they have pierced. Okay, so The speaker is I, not I, but the speaker saying I in Zechariah 12:10 is Yahweh. And Yahweh is the one being pierced. We discussed the grammar of this, like I said, in detail previously. And Rabbi Dosa sees this figure that is pierced and is being looked upon and pierced. And the grammar, we showed that's the same individual previously. Rabbi Dosa sees this as the Messiah. His position is that this is speaking of Messiah ben Yosef, Messiah the son of Joseph. So when I was studying under Rabbi Gilner back in the 1990s, this is a passage I brought to Rabbi Gilner's attention, and he agreed with me. He didn't believe Yeshua was the Messiah. For those that don't know, Rabbi Gilner was an Orthodox rabbi that I studied under during the 1990s. Herbert J. Gilner was a great rabbi, frankly, and he was an expert in Hebrew grammar, and he agreed that this is Rabbi Dosa appears here to hold to the doctrine of the deity of Messiah. And he came to the conclusion, Rabbi Gilner did, later, at least in the 1990s when we discussed this passage, that there was in Rabbinic Judaism, or its predecessor, really Rabbinic Judaism because we're talking Rabbi Dosa, early on a belief in the concept of the deity of Messiah. Rabbi Dosa clearly held to that concept to apply Zechariah 12:10 to the Messiah, and that it was only later in knee-jerk reaction to Christianity that that doctrine was ejected and regarded as apostate. It might have been a doctrine everybody didn't agree on. That may be the case. There are other voices in Zechariah 12, in Sukkot 52a, besides Rabbi Dosa in his interpretation. But and we did another video recently that touched on this, about a video on why the rabbis suppressed the Book of Enoch, and how a rabbinic Orthodox scholar named Daniel Bjarn had demonstrated that there was in fact a belief in this concept of the deity of Messiah before Yeshua was ever born, and that the early believers in Yeshua applied that belief to Yeshua. They didn't invent it for Yeshua. So the next passage I want to look at is in the Babylonian Talmud, Sanhedrin 38a. We read, Judah and Hezekiah, the sons of Hiah, once sat at a table with Rabbi, and uttered not a word. Whereupon he said, Give the young men plenty of strong wine, so that they may say something. When the wine took effect, they began by saying, The Son of David cannot appear ere the two ruling houses in Israel shall have come to an end, vis-a-vis, or i.e. the exilarchate in Babylon and the patriarchate in Palestine. For it is written, And he shall be for a sanctuary, for a stone of stumbling, for a rock of offense to both houses of Israel. Isaiah 8:14. Thereupon he, Rabbi, exclaimed, You throw thorns in my eyes, my children. At this, Rabbi Hiah, the disciple, remarked, Master, be not angered, for the numerical value of the letters of Yayin is 70, and likewise the letters of Sod. When Yayin, wine, goes in, Sod, secrets, come out. Okay, now let me give you some explanation of this passage. So the interpretation being given by these young men, first of all, is they are saying that the Messiah won't come until the end of the leadership, if you will, in Babylon and the leadership in Palestine, in Israel, in the land of Israel. In other words, the leadership that we know from the Jerusalem Talmud and that school, and of the Babylonian Talmud and that school. That's what his application here is, sort of an allegorical application of the two houses of Israel, which are in Isaiah, the house of Israel and the house of Judah. And interestingly, in the Nazarene commentary on Isaiah, there is a citation of the same passage, and it applies it to the school of Hillel and the school of Shammai. That's really not so much the important point here is the fact that it is being applied to the Messiah. And then it says, thereupon he, Rabbi, exclaimed, "You throw thorns in my eyes, my children." In other words, you pain me. And Rabbi Haya remarks, he says, "Master, don't be angry. For the numerical value," okay, so in Hebrew, letters and numbers are the same thing, and in Aramaic. In Hebrew and Aramaic, letters and numbers are the same thing. So every word has a numerical value called a gematria. And in Jewish thought, words with the same gematria have some relationship with each other, some strong relationship with each other, usually almost a synonymous relationship with each other. And so he's saying that the numerical values of the letters of Yayin, which is the Hebrew word for wine, Yud, Yud, Nun, is 70. And likewise, the word Sod, Samik Vav Dalet, which means hidden, secret, or concealed, it's the highest level of interpretation. It's the hidden, secret, mystical level of interpretation. In Jewish thought, there are 4 levels of interpretation, and they are Peshat, which is the literal interpretation, Remez, which is the implied interpretation, hinted, Drash, which is the allegorical, homiletical interpretation, and Sod, which is the hidden, secret, or mystical interpretation. And the first letter from each word spells Pardes, which is the Hebrew word for paradise. And so it is like Pardes to have a full understanding of the scriptures on all 4 levels. And Sod is the highest level of understanding, and it's the hidden, secret, mystical level of understanding. So what we're being told here is that this is a very deep, mystical level of understanding that these young men were revealing, and that the word, from this we get a saying that's a common saying in Israel today, a common Jewish saying is, the yayin goes in and the secrets come out. Because the person who drinks too much wine doesn't have enough judgment not to say whatever comes into his mind, or what, or secrets, that he may have. And so the yayin goes in and the Sod comes out. 70 comes in and 70 comes out, in other words. And so Rabbi Haya is saying, hey, don't be angry. First of all, they couldn't help it. The yayin goes in and the secrets come out. But it's implying also that this is some, truth that they were afraid to speak, perhaps normally, but was revealed. They were willing to reveal. So this is a really deep truth, applying Isaiah 8:14 to the Messiah. Now, why? Why would this make Rabbi angry? And why would this be such a controversial, secret, hidden level of understanding that was only revealed because the yayin went in, and only then did they speak the yayin, the Sod, the hidden, secret, mystical interpretation of Isaiah 8:14. Again, let's turn to your Bible, any Bible, doesn't matter. Pick a Bible, any Bible. Verse 14, and if you need time to find the passage, hit pause and find it and start back up. So verse 14, and he shall be for a sanctuary, but for a stone of stumbling and for a rock of offense to both houses of Israel, for a gin and for a snare to the inhabitants of Jerusalem. Okay, and so the sons of Rabbi Haya, these young men, they were interpreting the two houses allegorically as being the leadership of behind the Jerusalem Talmud and the leadership behind the Babylonian Talmud, basically, or from the Jerusalem, what's called the Jerusalem school, but really they weren't in Jerusalem. They were sometimes it's called Palestine, which has a bad name now for other reasons. It was just a geographical term at the time. And the Babylonian Talmud leadership. And as I said, there's a Nazarene commentary on Isaiah that applies it to the house of to the school of Hillel and the school of Shammai. These are both allegorical, but the important thing is that they were applying this to the Messiah. In other words, it's the Messiah that shall be for a sanctuary and a stone of stumbling and a rock of offense to both the houses of Israel. It's speaking of the Messiah when it says that, according to the sons of Rabbi Haya, in this sod level interpretation that they revealed. Why is this so sod? Why is there such hidden, secret, mystical information here that angered Rabbi and made him feel like there were thorns in his eyes? Well, because if we look up at verse 13, it says, sanctify Yahweh of hosts himself. You may have Lord in all caps in your translation. Whenever you see Lord in all caps, the sacred name Yahweh is actually there. Sanctify Yahweh of hosts himself, and let him be your fear, and let him be your dread. He shall be for a sanctuary, but for a stone of stumbling and a rock of offense to both the houses of Israel. So this stone of stumbling and rock of offense to the houses of Israel, to both the houses of Israel, in Isaiah 8, verses 13 through 14, is absolutely without a doubt Yahweh. And yet the Talmud tells us here in Sanhedrin 38a, through a very deep sod level interpretation, that it is also speaking of the Messiah. So here we have two passages where the Talmud takes passages from the Tanakh that are without a doubt very clearly speaking about Yahweh. And the Talmud is applying those passages as messianic prophecies that are speaking of the Messiah. This is clear evidence of the fact that there was in fact a belief in the idea of the deity of Messiah was not an apostate belief in ancient Judaism. It was only in reaction to Christianity that, in a sort of knee-jerk reaction to Christianity, that became so. I hope that this enlightens you. I'm sure this information was astounding for both rabbinic Jews and for Christians and for Nazarenes, Messianic Jews, Hebrew roots Christians, whatever. I think most of you are probably going to be very shocked to find out that in fact the doctrine of the deity of Messiah can be found in the Talmud, in that the rabbis of the Talmud at times applied passages from the Tanakh that were absolutely, positively, without a doubt, in the Peshat, speaking of Yahweh, and they applied them to Messiah. All right, one last time I need to ask you, please donate. Where are you going to find material like this? These videos and the blogs that we write and produce, they are very unique. And we don't ask you to believe anything just because I say it. We put the material out there and let you see it for yourself. I'm not asking you to believe me that I say that the Talmud teaches the deity of Messiah. I just gave you two passages where it does, and I actually cited the passages. We went over them together in detail, and you can see very clearly that the Talmud at times quotes passages from the Tanakh speaking of Yahweh and applies them to the Messiah. So please donate to support this work. You can click on the donate link in the video description. We badly need your support. In about a week, our rent will be due, and we don't have it. We just don't have it. In fact, I've got to go pick up some prescriptions today, and we're broke. So please donate to help us continue this work. And also like the videos, subscribe to these videos with notifications so you'll get notifications when new videos come out. Comment in the comment section. Let us know what you think about these videos. YouTube's algorithm takes all these things into effect, and one of the things that we have is a very, very high like rate of people that watch our videos. The ratio of people of views to likes is unheard of high for our videos, and we're very, very pleased with that. But it also looks at who's commenting and people subscribing. We are at 2,950 something subscribers, and we're trying to get to 3,000, and then we'll try and get more. But so please subscribe to help us with that, and share these videos on YouTube, not on YouTube, they're already on YouTube. Share them on Facebook, share them on all kinds of social media, Twitter or whatever. Share them with your friends, and that way we can also get the message out and garner in more viewers that way. All right, so one last thing all I can say is please donate, donate, donate. You are the ones that make these videos happen. Shalom, everybody. Until next time.